Before I say anything else, if you're on YouTube, go down to the description, click the link, y'all. Get on our school account and get on it. It's live. We're doing a live event. This right here is a live event that we do where we talk about herbs and what they do for your health, right? So get on the live event. I've been an herbalist for 16, 17 years now. Been doing all sorts of things. Obviously, my office is kind of cluttered and crazy because we run a couple of businesses and we're inside of Connex, right? So I'm trying to build this out and do this all at the same time. It's very difficult. We're off grid and it is hot. There's no AC in here. So bear with me as we work through all of this. This is the Herb Talk number 29 and um, autoimmune series number 19. Tonight, specifically, we're talking about some digestive autoimmune issues, which are very important to understand because they can affect a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people out there with them. So we're going to dive into that tonight. Don't forget, when you get on the Herb Talk, you get the ability to win prizes, supplements. This lion's mane medicinal mushroom complex that has a bunch of different medicinal mushrooms in it is the prize we're giving away for the month of August. So get on so you can earn those prizes. You get the opportunity to be in the raffle and the drawing on my phone, and which I need to get ready for when people start coming in. So join the Herb Talks live. You are able to participate. It is free. You just give me your email and sign in with an account and download the app on school. Y'all just download the app on school or on your phone, the school app, school community app on your phone, and you're able to jump in. If you have questions about health, if you have health issues that you might be dealing with, get on here, ask them. That is what this is for. So you may or may not be able to hear the farm in the background. I'm next to the geese, the chickens, the goats, and all of the above, the dog that protects them, right? So you might hear them in the background. Apologize if you do, but they are there. We live on a farm, right? A permaculture farm. It's not very well developed yet. We're in the process of developing all that out. It takes money and it takes time, and neither of those are easy to come by nowadays. I will tell you that they are not easy to come by. There are far and few between hours in the day and money in the pocket. So, that being said, we're so thankful to be able to do things the way that God designed them. Here at Great Health by God, we understand that God has built a design within the whole world operates, right? And when you follow that design and you do things God's way, things tend to go better, right? You tend to heal, you tend to feel better. Um, Anxieties, depressions, worries, all those things tend to melt away, or at least are easier to emotionally deal with, right? Stress is easier to deal with, decisions are easier to make, those sort of things. Now, I'm not perfect and I don't do everything perfect. And it is difficult sometimes to get on track and do the things that you are supposed to do, right? But we do our best, right? We always do our best. So that is who we are. And this is Herb Talk. Now, as people start to join, I said all of that before we get started on the Herb Talk. But the Herb Talk is live. I'm telling you, it's a great event. We'll have some people start joining here soon. I'm going to go through my notes, talk about some key things that we can do for specific conditions around autoimmune disease. Once we get through those or through that, we'll open up for questions, conversation, all of that great stuff. So if you would like to participate, I urge you to click on the link and join the school account. We do it once a week. We've only missed a couple of weeks, so we have changed the days a couple of times, but we're pretty consistent with the day. So, like I said, we're 6 months into this, and we'll be going to week number 39, and then we'll start a new series. Most likely, we'll start a new series on cancer. That is one that I'm very excited to get to. It may or may not be a 6-month to 9-month series as well. And probably 6 months, because cancer is a little bit easier to go through. There's all different types of cancer, but they're relatively the same. Same with autoimmune disease, don't get me wrong. But, autoimmune disease actually has some more specificities than even cancer does, right? So, but we will get into all of that when the time comes. I will probably get canceled pretty well across the social medias for posting things on that, but we shall see. I've gotten canceled several times just for autoimmune disease on TikTok and other places. So we shall see how this one goes with cancer. Cancer's a big uh-oh and a big no-no to talk about. So we shall see how that goes. But I see some people starting to come in. What's up? It's been a while, Mr. Chris. It's been a while since I've talked to you.
How you doing, my friend?
Fantastic. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Finally had a chance to jump on here.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. We had to change the day again. So,
Hey, it is what it is, brother. You got to get it in when you
yeah,
can.
yeah,
How's the coffee shop?
it's going well. It's going well. We had a good day today, and
Awesome.
yeah, we've hit our kind of consistency. I think where we know that we are kind of our baseline, consistent baseline, and can only go up from here. So
Man, I'm so
it's good.
thankful. God has blessed you,
Yeah,
brother.
very much so. Very much so. Um, yeah, Fridays do really, really well, and then the rest of the week is pretty consistent. So let me get everybody in here who's joining. If you didn't catch last week, this is what we're giving away. It is, I don't know if you can read it, lion's mane mushroom, but it's actually a mushroom complex. So it's got lion's mane, chaga mushroom, maitake, shiitake, and reishi mushroom, all standardized extracts. So it's the good stuff. You could take 10 of these a day. You could take 20 of these a day. You could take 10 of these an hour. It'll never hurt you. It'll only benefit you if you ever get the flu or anything like that. Take a whole bunch of these every hour to 2 hours. Just take a handful, 5, 6 at a time until you're out of the bottle. And I guarantee you, by the time you're out of the bottle, you will feel 80 to 90% better, if not 100% better. So, pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. They are medicinal mushrooms are phenomenal, right? Phenomenal. They have all sorts of amazing, amazing benefits. I'm going to jump right in here and get started. Um, we'll whip through this pretty quick because there's a lot of things that we don't have to talk about because we talked a lot about it with gut health. And these autoimmune diseases actually are centered around gut health. So we'll get into the specificities of these. But there's not too much more that we can add past the gut health side of things. So, inflammatory bowel disease, which includes Crohn's disease, and ulcerative colitis is what we're talking about, right? And those are characterized by chronic immune mediated inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract, right? So, while both conditions share underlying immune dysfunction, their patterns differ. So Crohn's disease can affect any part of the GI tract, right? From the mouth to the multiple layers of the intestinal wall, to the anus. It penetrates. It involves deeper transmural inflammation, right? So it penetrates multiple layers of the intestinal wall. This can lead to complications such as strictures, fistulas, and malabsorption. A lot of issues. Ulcerative colitis is limited to colon and rectum and primarily affects the mucosal lining, right? So the inflammation is more continuous rather than patchy and is associated with symptoms such as bloody diarrhea, urgency, and abdominal pain. So, not things that you want to be dealing with, right? Very difficult situations that you're dealing with here. At the immune level, both conditions are driven by dysregulation involving Th1, which we talked about, and Th17 pathways, right? So these immune responses produce inflammatory cytokines, such as TNF alpha, interleukin 6, interleukin 17, which sustain chronic inflammation and damage to the intestinal lining. We talked about those when we talked about the immune system and different herbs that affect them, especially like TNF alpha, which turmeric is one that really affects those. Interleukin 6 and cytokines, which boswellia really affects those. So we'll get into that. So a central issue in irritable bowel disease is loss of barrier integrity, right? So the gut lining becomes compromised, allowing antigens, bacteria, and toxins to penetrate into deeper layers of the tissue. This further activates the immune system and perpetuates the inflammatory cycle. So this is a cycle of inflammation that's happening in your gut lining, basically. And yes, like I've said this many times, right? So yes, you could be genetically prone to having an autoimmune disease, but if you have a good gut, you'll never have an autoimmune disease, right? So it's important on the preventative side to have a good gut and to reset your gut, right? To get your gut acting right, to get the parasites out of your body and out of your gut, and then to heal your gut lining, right? To restore your microbiome, right? Those things are always super important. So the central issue in IBD is loss of gut or loss of barrier integrity, right? That is where, like I said, this is with every autoimmune disease, but especially the ones involved with the gut. You have to build the gut lining integrity, your integrity in your lining. The microbiome also plays a major role, right? So dysbiosis or imbalance in gut bacteria is commonly observed in IBD. Beneficial bacteria that produce anti-inflammatory compounds such as butyrate are often reduced, while more aggressive or inflammatory species may increase. This is usually due to sugars that you would eat that feed bad bacteria, candida, fungus, all that good stuff, parasites, right? All of those things, right? So the more aggressive inflammatory species increase, right? So this imbalance contributes to immune activation, reduced mucosal healing, and ongoing inflammation. When you have that constant inflammation, your gut lining can't heal, right? It's constantly being damaged. So it's constant repair mode, never fully healed and functioning correctly. Another key factor is the interaction between the immune system and the gut lining. So in a healthy state, the immune system tolerates beneficial microbes and food antigens while defending against harmful threats, right? In IBD, this tolerance is lost, leading to an exaggerated immune response to normal stimuli. This happens when food and toxins cross the gut lining, right? Because of that inflammation in the gut, you have foreign substances that cross the gut lining into the body and then you have immune responses that are not normal, right? This is where a lot of allergies come from. Peanut allergies come from this a lot of times. Um, a lot of things, a lot of allergies come from gut problems, right? So the goal in addressing IBD is multi-layered. First, reduce inflammation by calming overactive immune pathways. So particularly Th1 and Th17. And actually, you know, I have it listed here as the first thing that you would want to do, but now that I'm really thinking about it, honestly, the first thing you would want to do with a autoimmune condition such as one that is of the gut is you'd want to fast. Honestly, fasting would be your first and foremost, because that will just calm everything, right, and allow the time for things to heal. And it would need to be more than 3 days, right? So because it takes 3 days to repair the gut, but you have inflammation to calm first, and toxins to get out, and parasites to kill, and all these things that have to be taken care of while you're doing that. So you need to like a 7 day to 14-day fast minimum, going into IBD situations like this, right? So that's what I would, just off the top of my thinking about this now after I put this list together, um, thinking about this now, fasting would honestly be my first thing I would do. And then you would go into repair mode of the gut lining, right? So you start taking some herbs that help to regulate Th1, Th17 responses, which fasting would also help do. And then you go into gut repair mode, right? So repair the gut lining, restore the barrier integrity, and prevent ongoing immune activation, right? And so then you would go into rebalance, right? So rebalance the microbiome. And this is probably over like a 4 or 5 month period of time that you would do something like this, right? So it wouldn't be, it'd be, 2 weeks fasting, repair the gut lining. So the gut healing protocol that we have, maybe even while you're fasting, do like the parasite cleanse, right? And then work into doing the gut healing protocol. And then go into rebalancing the microbiome. So fermented foods and um, uh, probiotics and prebiotics, right? Probiotics and prebiotics, high probiotics, probiotic foods and prebiotic foods to keep that gut microbiome in play. And then remove triggers such as inflammatory foods, infections. You want to make sure that you're not going back into those after going through these stages, right? Because then you're just going to increase the inflammation instantly, right? So you want to get away from all the inflammatory foods, the infections, the environmental factors that perpetuate the condition, right? And that is part of the gut healing protocol, right? So that is a part of, our gut healing program that we go through, right? So support nutrient absorption and correct the deficiencies. So as chronic inflammation and damage to the gut can impair the body's ability to absorb essential nutrients, you want to address that, right? And I would start addressing that somewhere right after the gut healing protocol, so that you can really start to get the right nutrients in and start really absorbing it, right? One of the things that is not, well, it's mentioned in the gut healing course that we do, but not in the gut healing protocol that we sell online, is aloe vera specifically. Really, really awesome for these conditions. Aloe vera juice or gel, you can drink it. Super awesome for your gut. It calms, relaxes, it has a direct anti-inflammatory effects on the intestinal lining, right? So it helps calm irritation in the colon, making it particularly useful in ulcerative colitis. So aloe supports mucosal healing and can reduce disease activity by lowering inflammation or inflammatory signaling, and promoting tissue repair. So it has enzymes in it that get in there and start to repair tissue. That's why it's so good on your skin, because it helps to start repair that tissue. It's the same on the inside of you. It starts to repair that tissue. Living aloe is really, really good. So I've had scars and different things where I've taken aloe and slapped it on it, right, and wrapped it on that wound and left it there overnight. You know, you fillet it, right, cut it in half, put the slab on, wrap it, leave it on overnight, and you'll be amazed at what happens over that period of time, right? A lot of people just take the gel and they rub it on and it dries or soaks in, and then they, like, oh, well, it didn't work that well. Like, it feels good, but it didn't work that well. Well, it's not really how it's supposed to be used, right? It works, but not like how it should. You leave it on there for 10 hours while you're sleeping. It's pretty phenomenal what it'll do. Just watch the difference. It is huge. Boswellia, which we talked about several times, but Boswellia works by inhibiting the 5-lipoxygenase pathway, so reducing leukotriene-driven inflammation in the gut. Clinical studies have shown it to be comparable in some cases to mesalazine for IBD, right? So it helps reduce swelling, pain, inflammatory damage while supporting overall gut stability. I like to say that if you get the right herbs for the right person in the right quantities, it works 100% better every single time, faster, better to heal your condition than any prescription drug out there. I would say that with full confidence. You have to get the right stuff, you have to have the right strategy, but it will work to heal rather than mask the symptom like prescription drugs, right? So curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, like I said, well-researched, most well-researched natural compound, or one of them, for ulcerative colitis. Multiple randomized controlled trials have shown that it can help maintain remission, right? So it works by inhibiting the TNF alpha and interleukin 6, which we talked about before, and reduces cytokines. So doses typically range from 1 to 3 grams daily. We've talked about the doses and the standardized extracts and some of the other herb talks, right? So slippery elm, which is also in the gut healing protocol, right? Provides a protective mucilaginous coating over the intestinal lining. This helps to shield inflamed tissue from irritation while creating an environment that promotes healing. So it also supports microbial balance. It reduces discomfort associated with the inflammation. Marshmallow root, which is also in the gut healing protocol, functions similarly. And it's a mucilage that soothes and hydrates the gut lining, so reducing irritation and inflammation. It is particularly useful in sensitive or highly inflamed digestive tracts, where more aggressive interventions may not be tolerated, right? So it's very gentle on the gut. So wormwood has actually had notable clinical trials for Crohn's disease. So including inducing remission in some cases, right? It's super effective. And that could be part of the anti-parasitic part of it, right? Possibly. We'll make note of that. It has anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties and appears to modulate the immune activity within the gut. We did talk about that immune modulation when we talked specifically about wormwood in our parasite cleanse series. But because of its potency, like we talked about, it is typically used in controlled protocols rather than long-term continuous use, right? So you use it in cycles. Cat's claw, love cat's claw. Cat's claw is also really great in cancer, different cancer situations. We'll talk about that when we get to our cancer series. But helps to reduce inflammatory cytokines, modulates the immune system and immune responses. It supports immune balance rather than simple suppression, which is important, right, in autoimmune-driven gut inflammation. It can reduce overall inflammatory load and support healing. Calendula tea specifically for the gut, but calendula is an amazing healing herb, especially for your skin. Really awesome, especially for people who are going through radiation of different sorts. Very, very awesome for burns, all that. Really great to make like a skin salve or cream out of. Phenomenal for burns. But calendula tea offers a gentle but effective support for the gut lining. It has anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and tissue healing properties. It promotes circulation to damaged tissues and supports regeneration of the mucosal lining, making it useful for ongoing maintenance and recovery. So, together these herbs address multiple aspects of IBD, right? Aloe, slippery elm, and marshmallow roots soothe and repair the gut lining. Boswellia and curcumin from turmeric reduce inflammatory signaling. Wormwood targets a deeper immune and microbial factors and parasites. Cat's claw modulates the immune activity, and calendula supports tissue healing. So this is a layered approach with these particular herbs, and it helps to reduce inflammation, restore your barrier integrity, and support your remission in these, right? But like I said, what I would do if it were me, I would go through a fast parasite cleanse, gut healing protocol, very, very clean diet afterwards, with nutritional basis, right? Cover all my grounds, and have with those few specific herbs for my condition, right? So that's what I would do. Very simple process. You go through it step by step, but that would take care of probably about 80 to 90% of people with these issues. There are some that would probably need a more extended or targeted approach. And that's probably just because there's different things going on or different things at play, right? So zinc plays a critical role in maintaining the integrity of the intestinal lining. We've talked about this. It supports the tight junction function, which helps prevent intestinal permeability, right? It is essential for tissue repair and immune regulation. Zinc deficiency is common in IBD due to poor absorption and chronic inflammation. So replenishing zinc helps accelerate mucosal healing, reducing ongoing immune activation. Vitamin A is essential for maintaining the health of the epithelial tissues, including the gut lining. So it supports the regeneration of intestinal cells, and plays a key role in immune tolerance within the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. And adequate vitamin A helps the immune system distinguish between harmful and harmless stimuli, which is very important, which is crucial, right? It's important, it's crucial in conditions like Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. L-glutamine, which is also in the gut healing protocol in the form of bone marrow, or not bone marrow, but bone broth, which has bone marrow in it. But it's one of the most important nutrients for gut repair, right? It serves as the primary fuel source for enterocytes, the cells lining the intestines. In IBD, where the gut lining is damaged, glutamine demand increases significantly, right? So supplementation helps to restore integrity of the gut barrier, reduce permeability, and support tissue regeneration. I wouldn't start with these things, right? I wouldn't start with L-glutamine and all these things and just start putting them in. I would start with a fast. And then once you get through those things, you start hitting yourself with the nutrients, because then your gut can actually absorb them. Otherwise, you're going to be taking a bunch of things on top of the inflammation, on top of the issues. It's not going to help. So omega-3 fatty acids are also very important for this, right? So it provides systemic and local anti-inflammatory effects. Stay away from the omega-6. Stay more towards the omega-3s. We have a huge imbalance there of inflammatory fats versus anti-inflammatory fats. And so they help shift the body away from pro-inflammatory prostaglandins and toward anti-inflammatory mediators, right? So NIBD omega-3s can help reduce inflammation in the gut, support immune balance, and contribute to improved symptom control and healing. From a dietary standpoint, I'm going to mention a couple of different diets that are out there for this, and it goes right along with the diets that I suggest for people to do for autoimmune disease. But from a dietary standpoint, both the specific carbohydrate diet, the SCD, and the low FODMAP diet, the approaches are used to reduce symptoms and support gut healing, but they function differently, just a little bit differently. The specific carbohydrate diet focuses on removing complex carbohydrates that are difficult to digest and more likely to feed harmful bacteria, which we talked about, lowering those sugars. And by limiting these carbohydrates, SCD aims to reduce bacterial overgrowth, decrease fermentation, and improve microbial balance in the gut. It emphasizes simple, easily digested foods such as certain fruits, vegetables, meats, fermented foods that are tolerated, right? And the low FODMAP diet, it targets fermentable carbohydrates that can cause bloating, gas, and digestive discomfort. So these carbohydrates are poorly absorbed and rapidly fermented by gut bacteria, which can worsen symptoms in sensitive individuals. By reducing that intake, this approach helps to decrease digestive distress, basically, and improve symptom control. So both diets are typically used as tools rather than permanent solutions, but they help reduce the burden on the gut, right? They calm symptoms and create a more stable environment for healing. The broader goal is to reduce the inflammation, support the gut lining, and gradually restore tolerance. Over time, foods can often be reintroduced in a structured way to build more sustainable and diverse diet while maintaining symptom control. Like I said, these are closely related to antihistamine type diet that is very anti-toxin, anti-sugar, high sugars, all that stuff. You want to eat real, fresh food, as fresh as you can get it, right? Even going to local farmers markets and receiving food that way, it's really great because you get soil-borne organisms as well that are supposed to be in your gut. You get all of those things that are naturally occurring from the soil, from the plants that are in the soil. That would help to restore your gut microbiome as well. Always make sure that the farmer is not using any pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, suicides on their plants in their crops, right? You don't want any of that stuff because that is what destroys your gut, right? Those toxins, glyphosates, all those things, those forever chemicals that never go away, those are what destroy your gut and cause the inflammation. Parasites are also what causes this type of inflammation. Just parasites alone, even with somebody who does not have the genetic precursors or genetic predisposition for IBD, ulcerative colitis, or any autoimmune disease, you can have ulcerative colitis-like symptoms or irritable bowel disease symptoms just by having particular parasites. So very closely related symptoms, and it can actually be the trigger that causes the whole mess in the first place. So it is important to note that everyone has parasites. It is not a thing that is only in South Africa and certain parts of the Amazon, right? It is something that is everywhere, right? We are not immune to it because we are in the United States. Anybody out there who's in any other sort of Western culture or civilization, you are not immune to parasites. And if you have a dog, you most likely have parasites. It's pretty much 100%. Or if you have any pet of any kind, right? Any pet of any kind, especially if you let it in the house, you most likely have parasites, right? They just carry them. They walk on their own poop all the time and then jump up on the couch and you just plop down on it, or in your bed. They're everywhere, right? So it is important to have a parasite protocol often, right? It's not something that you do once and you forget about. It is something that needs to be done. I am a proponent of twice a year at minimum, right? I do it in 2 different ways, and I think I've said this before, but I do a long fast, at least 20 days that I will fast. Usually at the beginning of the year, I'll fast for 20 to 21 days, somewhere around there is what I do normally. And then I'll do a parasite cleanse somewhere, actually around this time. So I did it probably about 3 months ago when I started making parasite cleanse. Now it's a little while. It was probably in March, right? And so I did it then, but I'll probably do it again at the 6-month mark, which is coming up. So it's important to have a protocol where you're doing these things at least twice a year, right? So making sure that you are ridding yourself of these organisms, because they will cause you a lot of issues and can trigger autoimmune diseases, cancers, fibromyalgia, candida, everything, right? They pretty much can be the cause of all of these things. But they're not necessarily always the cause. All right. So, but more often than we think, for sure. For sure. Told you it'd be a short one, because a lot of it is stuff we've gone over in the gut healing program or gut healing series part of this. So there's not, I don't want to be too redundant with all that because we've gone over it a good bit, but it is important. Gut healing is the most important part of it. So, any questions tonight? Anything. So just so you guys know, if you had a question about it, FODMAP means fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, and monosaccharides. All right. So any sugar, saccharide means sugar. Just for those of you who don't know, saccharide means sugar. So normally polysaccharides are really good sugars for you, right? Monosaccharides are very short, quick pockets of energy, turn into glucose into your cell or into your bloodstream very quickly. That's like popcorn, right? So I don't remember what corn starts off with. Maybe it's a disaccharide, and then when you pop it, it turns into a monosaccharide. I can't remember, but I do know the end result is a monosaccharide, super high on the glycemic index. But that's what that stands for. So, not like the FODMAP diet has sort of like 3 phases to it, I guess. Elimination, reintroduction, and integration are the 3 phases of it. Very similar to what I've proposed for autoimmune disease diet, right? So definitely something to look at if you have these specific issues, right? So, any other questions? I don't know if that was a question for anybody, but anything? Did we lose some people? We lost some people.
You lost some people, but you did good. You covered everything good.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've gone over the gut a lot, but it is really important. It's the most important thing, honestly. What you put into your body and how it affects your gut is super important. Well, all right. I guess I'm gonna pray us out. It's gonna be a short one tonight. So let's pray. Lord, thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to be good stewards of what you've given us, Lord. We're thankful for everything that you've given us, and we know that you are the provider of all these things. We're thankful that you provided everything for us to heal naturally, like that you've designed inherent grace within our bodies. You've given us so much grace, not just physical grace, Lord, but spiritual grace as well. Lord, we look forward to seeing what we can do with your design and what we can be good stewards with, or just continue to guide us in the right direction. And in all these things, in your mighty name we pray. Amen.
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 All right, y'all. I guess I'll see y'all, or I'll see Mom tomorrow. I don't know if you're coming,
Yeah.
Dad.
No, I got.
You gotta
I was.
come to these, Mom.
Huh? Yeah, good. I had a. I got called to a meeting, and it was about close to 10 minutes after 7 before I got out of it. I'm like,
Oh man.
what's wrong with these people? Quit working.
Yeah, little work is their life.
Oh, it is. It is. They don't know anything else, man. No work-life balance. And they said one of the guys they were trying to pull into the meeting was saying something about saving his marriage. Like, okay.
Wow.
Probably wife is getting pissed at him working 24/7.
Yeah. They don't care.
No, they don't.
They don't care at all. Well, all right. Well, I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, love you.
Okay, okay, bye.
Love y'all.